Instead of every time having to scroll the page to the bottom to be able to see the footer, let's temporarily move this class hScreen from main element to body element. This way we're not going to have the scroll bar on the page and the footer will be visible right away. But then the main content will not have any height, so let's just make the body element flexible container where all elements will be stacked vertically, and then let's just expand main element to the full available height within the flexible body element by using flexGrow class. Alright, now the main element takes all available height and the page does not have the scrolling, so we are ready to create the first section on the main page. Let's get back to the template of the main page, which is index.blade.php, and right here I'm going to create the first section that is going to contain the main heading as well as subheading and a couple of links that are going to lead to courses page and register page. So the heading will say Learn Web Development, and for the subheading we'll just put random text for now, and then down here let's create another block where we're going to put a couple of links. The first one will say Get Started. This will be the register link, and the second one will say Explore Courses, that is going to lead to the courses page. For now the text is quite big, that is because on the main element we have this class text7xl, so let's get rid of this class just to reduce font size. And right after let's style individual elements inside this section. We'll start with the main heading, so let's position this heading in the center of the screen by using text center class. The font weight will be extra bold, and let's also increase the size of this heading to 5XL. Almost the same classes we're going to apply to the subheading. So let's position this block in the middle. The font size will be XL and the font weight will be medium. Next one, we're going to add styles to buttons. So first of all, let's add padding. Horizontal paddings will be 4 units, vertical paddings 2 units. The background color of buttons will be violet with the shade of 500. The text color will be white, and when hovering over this button, the text should be a little darker. Let's assign BG violet 600 class. Also, we're going to round corners of this button and make font weight to be semi-bold. And also let's prevent those cases where the text inside these buttons will be wrapped. I'm going to assign class whitespace no wrap to avoid text wrapping. And then let's copy all these list of classes and use them on the second button. But the second button will be gray, so let's change classes that are responsible for making background color violet. In here we're going to use gray color, and the text will be black, so let's remove this class text white. Next one, in order to increase spacing between all these elements, I'm going to make the parent container flexible, where elements will be stacked vertically, and the spacing between all child elements will be 2 units. Then let's also position all the elements inside this flexible container in the middle. So we can do it by using items center class. Then I'm also going to make container with buttons flexible and increase the spacing between these 2 buttons, let's say 2 units. And the spacing between this container and the subheading will be 6 units. Empty class is responsible for adding top margin. By the way, we don't have to wrap the heading into one more div, so let's remove this element. And then temporarily I'm going to make this container violet, just to be able to see borders of this container. Later on we will need it to properly align this container to match header and footer alignment. Next, we're going to make the minimum height of this section to be exact the height of the browser window. So we're using min hScreen that is going to assign property min height and set it to 100 VH. And for those cases where the height will be pretty small, we're still going to have some spacing at the top and bottom because we're going to use extra paddings. Set them to 40. so that this section will not look too shrinked on smaller screens. But as you can see, this violet section does not take up all available widths. That is because we have some classes assigned to the parent container, which is main element. So in here we are using grid and position all elements within the grid in the center by using place item center class. So let's just remove all these classes and see what it will result to. So right now this section takes up the full available widths, but we have to restrict the widths, and usually we're doing it by using container class. So let's add the container class on this div element, and after this the width of this block has to be aligned with header widths. Next, let's just position all the content within this section in the middle. I'm going to use class justify center for this. And that is looking good. But the moment I'm going to add a lot of content inside this block of subheading, we're going to see that the content of this section is not properly aligned with the content of the header. There is a little spacing in here. That is because header uses some horizontal paddings on both sides. And to fix it, we're going to apply the same amount of padding for this block. So I'm going to add px for class to have some horizontal paddings. Now it is looking better. So let's revert all the changes we have made to the subtitle and remove that extra class that makes background color violet. It's time to assign proper addresses to those two buttons. The first link is supposed to open up the register page. I'm going to use a route helper to get the address of the register route. And for the second link, I'm going to use the address of the courses page. Now let's click the register link and see if we're going to be redirected to the register page. And we are. But just because we have removed some of the helper classes from the main element, we're currently not seeing any content on the page. For now, I'm going to put all those additional classes back on this main element in order for the block with main page content to stretch and to make all the content inside to be aligned in a center. So this part is fixed. Now let's try again and click on the first link and make sure that we'll be redirected to the register page. And we are. Now let's click on the second link and make sure that we will end up on the courses page. So this part is working. Let's just get back to the editor and remove this text center class from the main heading as well as subheading, because we are already inside the flexible container where all the content is aligned in a center. And finally, let's just take all this markup that we have created in this video and move it in a separate component. Let's call this component hero, because this is a hero section. Let's paste all the content right here and change the text of the subheading. I'm going to use the following text. Let's stop here and continue working on the main page in the next lesson.